But I want to welcome everybody to my channel, The Candy Shop. I am so excited. The Candy Shop. So this is my story time, The Candy Shop.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Candy Shop. I am Candace, and this is The Candy Shop channel. It's been a minute since I've been on. I am so happy to be back. I had to come on here and talk about Mr. Derrick Jaxn because this situation is a whole hot mess. I know a few weeks ago we heard about Danae going live on the Wifey podcast, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I had to talk about this because this is a mess. First of all, let me acknowledge some of you in the comments. Hey, Master Prophet Levi T, the Real Estate Insider. Thank you for joining me, Lamar. Hey, So Debonair. Yes, I haven't been on here for a minute, and I wanted to come on here and talk about Miss Danae because this is some tea. And I noticed I have my allegedly banner. And before I get into it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm still trying to grow. I'm still trying to get there. Though I don't come on here often, I am attempting to come on here even more. I've been busy with work, so sometimes it gets hard to get on here. But thank y'all for supporting me. Thank y'all for subscribing to me and staying with me and being a part of my so-called girls family. So yes, it's good to see you as well, Lamar. Good to see you, Toria. Yes. Happy Father's Day to my husband. Yes. And my daddy. I saw him 2 weeks ago in Milwaukee. That's where I'm from. Yes. And hey, Monique King. So let's get into this drama. I'm not going to say drama, but this situation with Mr. Derrick Jaxn and his soon-to-be ex-wife, Danae Jaxn. So first of all, I have to give 2 shout-outs because I had watched a live. This is what made me go live. I had watched a live from Miss Janice Hilton. She's somebody that I follow for a long time. Prior to getting into the black tea sector, because that's the sector I guess my channel will fall into. But prior to getting into this sector, I was somewhat in more of Miss Janice Hilton sector where we were wives. We talked about YouTube. So I was watching her. She actually ran the live of Simone from Ready to Love. Simone is a lawyer, and she has a channel called Girl, Is That Legal? So Miss Simone ran the background check to Mr. Derrick Jaxn and that whole situation, and it just felt like a mess. So to catch y'all up, and I wrote some notes on this because it was a lot. Child, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. So I'm gonna try to break this down. I'm gonna talk a little slow because I know I talk fast at times and my mascara is smudging. But to catch y'all up on Danae and Derrick Jaxn. So first of all, shout out to Tuskegee University. That y'all know that's the school I graduated from. Y'all that have been with me for all these years that I've been on YouTube, y'all know I represent Tuskegee University. So Danae and Derrick Jaxn both graduated from Tuskegee. They met there in 2009. They started their relationship in that year. They were both 19. So I have a couple of things to say about that. So I know a lot of people feel like Derrick Jaxn sought Miss Danae out because she was so weak and all this other stuff. I just can't say that I agree with that. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but both Derrick and Danae were 19 at the time when they started dating. So I can't say that he just saw her out because she was weak, because to me, they were both kids. They were both finding their way. Now, I will say this. When you go back to the Wifey podcast or whatever that Danae did her interview on, she talked about how Derrick Jaxn was in relationships with other women. He was cheating and doing all that. So this was something that was known in their relationship. And make sure you guys remember that. The whole cheating and all of that in the relationship has been a part of the relationship from the beginning. So the podcast actually is called Dear Future Wifey. Danae did an interview on that about, I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it went viral. She's on this whole media tour. Make sure you pay attention to that as well. But she's on this whole media tour, but they got together in 2009. They married in 2018. Tasha K came out with the allegations of him cheating in 2021. And from there, it was just a mess. So in 2018, he proposed to her. She, at that time, was pregnant with their second child. Now, get this. Prior to 2018, they were messing around. They were never in a relationship. They were messing around. They were switching out, going back and forth or whatever. And she ended up pregnant with their first child. Prior to their first child, she had 3 abortions. And not to shame her for that, but that was something that was a part of their relationship. Danae had dealt with SA in her own life, and then somewhat it appears a few months later after her SA, she got with Derrick Jaxn, and they started messing around. And like I said, he would switch out women. She had known that. But she, in 2018, when they got married, he proposed to her, and a lot of opinions online feel like he married her because she was pregnant with their second child and he was building his platform. Now, from what I know, Derrick Jaxn, to me, started building his platform around the time that Steve Harvey brought out that book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. So in about 2009, 2010, I became friends with Derrick Jaxn on Facebook prior to him being famous. So at this time, I'm seeing his platform grow. He writes his own book. He's putting out he's making all these videos about how to treat a woman and how to be a woman in a relationship, what to look for, and all this other stuff. So to me, it was a gimmick from the very beginning because he was feeding off of what Steve Harvey had already put out, but nobody wants to call that out. So 2018, fast forward to 2018, he proposes to Danae. Now, she admitted in that Wifey podcast, Dear Future Wifey, that at that time, she would run into the women that he was messing around with. They would pass each other as they were leaving his apartment or going to his apartment or whatever. So this is something that was always known in their relationship. So they get married. 2020, a lot of people don't know this. She filed for divorce in 2020. Then a month later, she basically reversed it. She pulled it back because they were supposed to work it out under the stipulations that they renew their vows or whatever, that he stops cheating. So that was dismissed. I'm going to go to some more of my notes. 2021, Tasha K comes out with the whole cheating scandal, which Danae knew about. Now, initially, he told her about 11 women, and that's where you get her saying that she visualized or wanted to mimic these women with the way that she had sex with her husband. I don't know if I can say sex on YouTube, but the way that she had sex with her husband. So 2021, they were already working on reconciling. And so Tasha K brings out the cheating scandal. 2022, she comes out and as they said on the other channel, she gave us a Christian cuss out where she quoted all these scriptures, talked about how she hopes our children, whoever is worshiping evil on them, she hopes that our children die and that the words that we're spouting out return back to us and kill us and all this other stuff. So she did a Christian cuss out with us. And let me pause for a second. So, hey, Kenny, good to see you. Lamar, I don't know if she's pushing a book or whatever, but based off of what I'm about to tell y'all, she needs to because Miss Ma'am might be broke. I know, so Deb. So going back to it. So 2023, she goes on the Dear Future Wifey podcast and does her interview. So she's on a media tour. So one, she knew about all of the stuff that was going on with him. So let's talk about the money. So the divorce decree. So the actual divorce decree itself is sealed as of right now. And it's just certain facts. So I'll go back to 2020, 2021, where they went through this situation. They were reconciling. In 2021, she was pregnant when she did that bonnet video where she was a soldier for the Lord, because that's what she looked like. She was pregnant with their third child, but she ended up moving to Colorado to be with her mom. And remember that. She moved to Colorado to be with her mom. Around that time, well, 8 months later, Derrick convinced her to move to Texas. Remember Texas as we're talking about this. So he convinced her to move to Texas after the 8 months. And they were at this time supposed to be renewing their vows. She didn't want to move back to Atlanta because she felt like Atlanta was too much. It was tempting to him. So she married him knowing that he was a cheater. She filed for divorce, came back, dismissed the divorce under the conditions that he would stop cheating and that he would renew their vows. So let's get into this tea. So, when she originally filed, though, she did not file for the cheating. She filed for irreconcilable differences. So remember that as well. So let's get into these debts. So while they were married from 2018 to now, they've been married about, I would say, 6 years. So in the years that they were together and living together, she did not work. She was taking care of the home. She was a housewife. Someone helped him with the business. So she didn't know anything. Well, she claimed she didn't know anything about the finances. Let's go back to how they were living. So property wise, because this is all that she put in her divorce. In her divorce, even though the decree is sealed, there are some facts about this divorce that are known. So fast forward to Simone doing this background check on him. So come to find out, the first property that they lived in, which was a home here in Atlanta, I believe it was in Fulton County, they were renting that home. So that was one home that they were renting. Then the second home, which was an apartment, or he said a condo that they had, that he stayed in separate, where he would do all his videos, that was an apartment that he was renting as well. Third home that she lived in I think Forsyth, and then there was a home in Dallas. These homes that they lived in were apparently, they were renting. So they've never owned a home. They don't have a home that they own. And so when she filed this divorce, she put in that she wanted half of his assets and all of this other stuff. Come to find out, this man does not have any assets. So every home that they've lived in was rented. And this is allegedly. When you pull up the public record and you search for properties that he's owned or places that they've lived, when you pull up their addresses, it comes up rented. When it comes to their cars, he's leased these cars. They still owe payments on some of these cars. So right now they have nothing, liquid assets, nothing to their name. So in the divorce, this young lady is not getting nothing, but originally she stated that she wanted half. So I'm gonna go to some of these comments. And hey, Bar Meets World, good to see you, and happy birthday as well. Happy belated birthday. Yes, the 9,000 square foot home, Monique, that she was bragging about, they were renting that home. She thought, well, I'll say this, from what she said on the Dear Wifey podcast, I was under the impression that they owned this home because she was bragging about this home. That home they did not own. They were renting that home. She did not know about this. So all of the money and things that were going on, the business affairs, she had no knowledge of this. She's thinking that they owned it when in actuality they weren't. And this is what makes it kind of confusing, because he was so-called making all this money from YouTube, these millions of dollars, but he was renting everything. And that's not even the half of it. Was you alone? Oh, y'all talking about the lake. But then going to some of his other affairs. So we talk about the homes. They all three properties were rented. And that, to me, that was mistake number one. The fact that she didn't know anything about their assets and what was going on business-wise with her husband, that I feel like that's a mistake. You've gotten into this marriage based off of, one, being pregnant, two, being with someone that you went into the situation cheating. So what are you here for? And I'll say this, I'm not going to be no pick Misha or nothing like that. I'm not trying to blame her, but when you get married, like, even though you submit to this man, to me, marriage is an equal partnership because you are two adults coming together. You got to think about you and then all the children and basically what you're building. So the fact that she didn't know what was going on, and I'm saying this allegedly, the fact that she didn't know what was going on is just, to me, that was mistake number one, because I would never, ever trust a situation, go into a situation blindly when you already got two things working against you. My earring falling out. Well, the main thing is the infidelities with the women. That was something that she allowed. She allowed this man to continue to cheat on her. And when he proposed to her, they weren't even together. If you watch her Dear Wifey podcast, when you watch her on that podcast, she talks about how the fact that they were not together, that she was pregnant. So it alludes to the fact that he just married her because she was pregnant and to kind of clean up his image because he was a dating coach trying to tell people how to live their life. And hey, peace, love. Good to see you. Peace, love, and Netflix. Good to see you. Thank you, Barbie's World. And yes, I don't want to be no pygmisha, but I'm sorry. So the next thing, he controlled all the money. Allegedly, he spent all of his retirement and basically hers on these women. And Danae thought that she would be getting all of this. And so, like I said, the counties that they lived in were Fulton, Forsyth, and Collin County in Texas. So Fulton and Forsyth are here in Atlanta, and then Collin County is in Texas. And all of these houses were rented, and all of the cars were leased. So that's number one. Number two, this man had liens. He is currently right now being sued by American Express for $33,000. So not only was he renting these homes and leasing these cars, he has credit debt for $33,000. He also has 3 tax liens. One of them he paid off in 2019. He paid off $27,000 to the state of Georgia in 2019. So even if they wanted to get a house, as of right now, they couldn't, based off of what he has going on. He can't get no house. And excuse me if my head is sweating. I'm sorry. I'm a little hot. But he has the 3 tax liens, the $33,000 in debt from American Express, and the $27,000 that he paid off. So yeah, it's a lot. Colin, yes, please go find the house because I believe that's the $9,000 square foot house. So going to mistake number 3. So in the time, I said don't pull an EV and keep, oh my goodness. Sorry, Red Label. And don't, I don't want to talk about these YouTube streets. So he's broke. Derrick Jaxn is broke. He has been, as we say, me and my husband say, living foul. And not to say this, so I'm not no rich person. My husband's not a rich person. We are a middle class family, but we're not on YouTube and all these other platforms stunting like we make millions of dollars. We're not throwing money away because it sounds like Mr. Derrick Jaxn was throwing money away. When he got caught with that mistress, he was in Miami spending money on her. And so to me, right there, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Mistake number 2 or 3. The fact that she's allowing this man to go out, do whatever with these women, because she knew about the women. Do whatever with these women. He's spending this money. He's spending all of the cash that they have on these other women. But let me get to the nail in the coffin. So when she was living in Colorado, this is, I would say, time frame 2021, 2022. She spent 8 months in Colorado. Derrick Jaxn convinced her to move to Texas while they were reconciling. So get this. Now catch this tea. Let me check some of my water because this is what takes the goddamn cake. So he had her move to Texas. And remember, he filed for divorce. Now, statistically, if you guys look up the statistics, 80% of divorces are filed by women. But this man filed the divorce. So they moved to Texas. When it comes to child support in Texas, Texas child support is capped. So there's a set amount that you can't go above in regards to child support, regardless of what you make. So let's say, and I'm gonna use the same analogy that Simone, the lawyer, used on her channel. Let's say this man was making $50,000 a month. If he was making $50,000 a month, she's only entitled to $9,200 a month, regardless of whether or not he makes more of that or less, whatever. The cap is $9,200. So I feel like he only moved her to Texas because Texas is a no fault, or Texas is a no fault state in regards to divorce. They have a cap with child support. So he moved her to Texas to set this woman up to divorce her and make sure when they file, because you know, when you file child support or whatever, and the divorce, but when you file child support, the state follows the children. These kids are living in Texas. He could cap it. Also, he was offered a show by BET that he, at that moment or in 2022, turned down because he wanted to work on the deal after the divorce. And so anything while they were married, of course, she would be entitled half to, but because he wanted to pause this deal, he's thinking that she has no access to it. So one thing that was said was with the lawyers, if she can prove that he was offered this deal in Texas for BET, she can prove that he was trying to underwork and he turned it down because he was getting a divorce, she may be entitled to the deal that he makes after their divorce. Another thing, if he moves to California, she can kind of file, hopefully, if she's smart enough, she will transfer that child support order to California because California don't have all the caps and all that. Also, to get alimony, because they've only been married 6 years. To get alimony in the state of Texas, you have to be married 7 years. So he filed in the 5th year of their marriage. So it is a lot, child. It's a lot. It's a lot. But the child support part, that was what got me. And the BET deal. Yes, Cali is a 50-50 state. So one thing that kind of messes her up, though, let's say with Texas, with it being a no-fault state in a lot of other states, because she went into this marriage knowing that he was a cheater, because she admitted this on the Dear Wifey podcast, it is going to be hard for her to prove that that is why they're getting a divorce, because she went into the situation already knowing that he was a cheater and she admitted it. So I want to get y'all thoughts on this. This was a lot. Mr. Derrick Jaxn is broke. Let me recap for you. Rented properties, rented cars or leased cars, the 3 tax liens, the $33,000 that he's being sued by American Express, the child support that he's now trying to get in, or that he set up in Texas. I'm not going to say he set it up, but he moved her to a state that has a cap. So it appears that this man is broke. And he was definitely advised. Now on the lives that I watched, they were saying he was advised by a lawyer, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was advised. He has a lot of loyal female followers, which is a lot of pygmishas. And no offense to women out there, but some of y'all are pygmishas to still be following this man. He has a lot of pygmishas. So I feel like he was advised by one of those women as a financial advisor to move her to Texas. He didn't want to reconcile. He knew that they were going to get divorced, or he knew he was going to file, because to me, the timeline seems like the 8 months that she was in Colorado when she moved to Texas, about 3 or 4 months after the move was when he filed for divorce, October of 2022. So it is a mess. Money says he's staying 8 steps ahead of her. Right. And I understand. So right now, people are kind of getting mad at her because she's offering these expensive self-help classes for women that have gone through similar situations. One, I don't think she's in any position to speak on this situation right now, like to help women. And when I looked at it, she was charging like $3,500 for her sessions. So I know she's trying to make her money. But ma'am, you should have been a little smarter. He probably rinsed his clothes and hose. Yeah, he's renting everything. So I'm going to drop this link for y'all that want to talk. I wasn't gonna stay on here long, but anybody that wants to come up here and talk about Derrick Jaxn, that's the gist of it. This man is raggedy, 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 raggedy. And I'll say this for one, with him, they both coming from Tuskegee. I always wanted to support him. I knew his stuff was a gimmick. Like in reading his stuff and seeing him, from what I knew, he started out as a model because he and excuse me if you're my kids screaming in the background, but he was modeling with another guy that I saw years ago, and then all of a sudden he came out with this book, and then he started going live on Facebook. That was where I first saw him, and then he was offering this unsolicited advice to women about how to get men and all this other stuff. He presented himself as a single man, all the while he was actually married, well, in a situationship with a young woman, making her get abortions, and then they eventually get married. So it was a hot ass mess. Toria says she needs a good divorce lawyer. They have some good ones in Cali that have dealt with slime balls like him. Right. She has a lawyer, and from what my understanding, her lawyer, he might be cheap or whatever. From what they were talking about on the other live that I watched, her lawyer has like billboards on bus stops and stuff like that. So he's like a Morgan and Morgan, and no offense to Morgan and Morgan, but he's like a Morgan and Morgan type of lawyer, just a sleazeball himself. So I really hope that this young woman, Danae, gets some true sisterhood legal advice and takes this man to the bank. Though he does not have any money, because it's like, what will she get? He's being sued by American Express, allegedly. He's been renting all his properties. I don't know what money that she's going to get, because originally when she filed the divorce a month after him in 2022, she filed for half of his assets, but come to find out he has no assets. So hopefully she moves to a state that she can get some good child support, because I believe he still has over 100K subs on YouTube. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but he does content on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So yes, ambulance chaser lawyer, that yes, on benches. That's the type of lawyer she has. So tell me what y'all think. Make sure you guys leave some comments under this video. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, because it gets me exposure. I will be back to talk about more. I'm deciding on what I want to do for content, but I definitely wanted to come on here and talk about this because I was just shocked. Derrick Jaxn presented himself like he was this rich, self-made man, when all the while he was, in a sense, stunting. He was lying about his wife, lying about his infidelities, and now it appears lying about his finances. So tell me what y'all think. Again, I am Candace of the Candy Shop. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. You all have a good evening. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
But I want to welcome everybody to my channel.